So I am sure that there is a present decoupling of productivity growth from wage growth. And I'm absolutely sure that part of the structural unemployment and underemployment we're seeing is being forced by a variety of technologies. And not just the obvious ones, like automation. There are other ones that are beginning to affect employment as well. Employment in white-collar jobs. Big data, artificial intelligence, a variety of technologies like that are beginning to affect economists and lawyers and coders. So something clearly has structurally shifted in the economy. Here's what we don't know yet. We don't know if it's permanent. So historically, when we've eliminated old jobs, new jobs have been created. And that's always been the case. But there's no economic law saying that has to occur. It's not like the laws of supply and demand. It's just historically happened. And the great question is whether or not we are facing a future of permanent underemployment and chronic unemployment. And there's great debate amongst economists. My own belief, for what it's worth, is that probably we will continue to see the creation of new jobs from new technologies, but there may be a lag for people who are caught in that lag, which can last a long time. It's no consolation that there will be new jobs eventually. However you come down on the argument whether or not this is a permanent or temporary shift, it's certainly exacerbating the inequality in Western societies. But we've never seen such a concentration of capital in history, even during the Gilded Age. I like this question.
Yeah, do you? Okay. It's all about I'm going to put you on the spot.
The media industry has a tendency, perhaps, to focus too much on itself with navel gazing, but it's probably fair to say that no industry has been so discomforted in the last decade as the media industry itself. By some calculations, between a fourth to a fifth of people who were journalists 7 or 8 years ago are no longer journalists. And very great publications whom none of us ever thought would close have closed and gone away. All that said, Technology Review, I think, has charted a path forward for niche publications. That's publications that have a relatively small audience. Around 5 million people read us around the world and have a particular subject matter. I'm not saying what we've done is a model for the New York Times, but it seems to work. So for us, the model is digital first, while still keeping some commitment to print, licensing our content to a variety of international publishers, rather in the way that American pharmaceutical companies will license their IP to drugs companies. Yeah.
Interesting.
And finally, we're moving away from traditional advertising and to much more the way of kind of sponsored content and events and what's called native advertising online, which doesn't mean that we try and fool our readers that advertising is anything but advertising, but rather than showing our readers conventional display ads that everyone ignores, we work with our biggest partners to try and create something smart and interesting. So we'll be launching in October we call it a membership, and there'll be elements of smart paywalls to it, but there'll be a whole bunch of other things that we think our audience wants. Discounts to our events, free MIT Press books, membership in the Enterprise Forum, which is our global audience of entrepreneurs, just 28 chapters around the world. So we think if we bundle all the stuff together, people will be willing to pay us, $75, $100, $500 for different things as well. Well, Nicholas Carr talked about the shallows, didn't he?
Yeah.
Where we are becoming increasingly unable to concentrate, where the information we take in is trivial and self-serving and self-advertising, and therefore we are trivial and self-serving and self-advertising. Do I believe that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I do. I mean, I think that by and large these technologies are powerful tools for communication and connection, and have enabled things that would have been impossible otherwise. Our ability to have at our fingertips the repository of human information. I'm sure that the Arab Spring, whatever you think of it, would never have occurred without people for the first time feeling a commonality of suffering, of being tyrannized.
Yes.
I mean, what changed in Egypt wasn't that the Mubarak regime became any worse. It's that for the first time it would have been a dirty secret that my sister was raped, that my brother was beaten. People could share that information on Facebook. So I, by and large, think these are powerful tools. I tell you what does have a strange effect on human beings, though, isn't the medium of publishing, but the medium of composition. Mm-hmm. So the way poets wrote when they wrote in longhand produced very different types of poems than the industrial novels of the 19th century, written on typewriters, published in serial form in magazines. I wonder if the tools of composition don't begin to change the way we express ourselves, and I'm interested in that. You can see that the blogging style, mm-hmm. writing, is now very common. That chatty, ironic, self-deflating, mm-hmm. Hand style. So I don't know if the way we read is making us stupider, but I do think the way we express, or the way we compose things, is changing the way we talk and the way we write. I think email is I think email has had a, by and large, deleterious effect. We have far too much of it. I guess I would grant to Nick Carr and Mozarov that email has probably devolved the human, the marketplace of ideas. I think, based upon the people that I'll be bringing on stage for 2013 to talk with me, the big question I'll be asked will be something like, why can't we solve big problems anymore? What happened to our capacity to solve big problems? These three people you've shown me, Jason, are imaginative and exciting and are addressing civilizational scale challenges, but how rare that is. And for really big problems, you need the cooperation of all the estates of a civilization. You need government and academia and private industry, and the people themselves, to come together and say, we want to cure polio. We want to go to the moon. So, I mean, there are problems we'll never solve. No matter how much money we throw at it, there will always be famines, so long as there are bad governments. It turns out famines are not failures of technology or food availability. They're political crises. And we won't solve that. But, you want to go and create clean energy, which is a technological problem that we do understand by and large. Society has to want to fix it, and our institutions must support it. And then private industry can come behind and work on it. That's a great question. How do I stay curious? I've never been asked that question before, and it's curious to be asked it. When I imagine heaven as it's described, it sounds so boring. That we shall know all. I don't want to know all. What's fascinating about the world is that there seems to be an endless onion of questions to ask and answers to be given, and you peel away one level and you discover another level of complexity and interest underneath it. Writing's a bit like that. I've sometimes heard writers say that they don't know what they think until they've tried to write it. But you do discover what you want to say at the level of the prose. So it's by dancing it, in Duncan's phrase. It's by writing it. It's by struggling with the expression of the thought that you actually formalize it, clarify it, and refine it. So one of the ways I stay curious is by writing it, by dancing it. I have them right here.
And I will see you in September.
I look forward to that, Wayne. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Bye-bye.